We've seen globally so many coordinated efforts, and this is the very end of the currency's life cycle. Will we have World War III to justify all of the global central banks just going in and flooding the system with their respective government-based fiat monies? That's what I really, really think. But they're going to make it seem like it's them and us because you have to have an enemy. And people have to feel, well, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight them because they're not good. But, people in general, my personal experience, yes, there are some bad apples out there. Of course there are. But in general, my personal experiences is that most people want to do the right thing. This is the importance of community, but most people really do want to do the right thing. Most people don't really want to hurt others. So we'll see what happens with this. Stocks, oil fall as tensions between Russia and Ukraine mount. Geopolitical risk is very, very high and can be used as a diversion and also as an excuse. So what do you do about that? Well, typically, right, this is supposed to be the treasuries, U.S. government treasuries, the foundation of the global markets, supposed to be the deepest and most liquid pool, when the Federal Reserve has already committed to buying fewer treasuries and to stopping maybe by the end of March. You think they're going to be able to do it? I don't think so. Because the treasury market liquidity is eroding with the Fed's course a gamble. Interest rates indicate the time value of money, and you're not getting paid any interest for the level of risk that you're taking. But I think that is really interesting that they're spiking. So is the Fed losing control? As compared to the U.S. Treasury market depth remains well below 2021 highs. Yeah. Ukraine crisis pushes Russia and China into a closer embrace. Now, we do know that the financial powers and the power in general has been shifting from the U.S. to China. And we also know that in Russia, China, India, they have, and actually globally, other than the US, they have been accumulating a tremendous amount of gold. Because what gold really does is it creates that stable foundation. It should be the foundation of every single person's portfolio. And you need to hold it yourself. It needs to be out of the system. But central banks, well, they are the system, so they can accumulate and hold it as much as they want. But when civil war happens, whether this is a civil or a global war, at the same time as there are foreign powers that are becoming strong enough to challenge the leading world power, that is encountering this civil war dynamic, it is an especially risky period. That is from the piece that I just recently did on Ray Dalio's book. But honestly, this is where he believes we are right now. This is where I believe we are right now. You can form your own opinion, but we see a lot of dissension that's happening, divide and conquer, citizens overseeing other citizens, etc. I don't like what I'm seeing. It makes me really, really nervous. Consequently, the true safe haven. Debt is not a safe haven. Debt is a big part of the problem. Gold nears 3 months high as geopolitical tensions boost havens. Well, they're not boosting the treasury haven, but they are boosting the gold haven, which today actually hit 1900 and change. And I'm not sure where it closed because I've been in the studio all day, and I'll see that when we get done. And 1900 is still a severe bargain because the most important function of gold is to hold its purchasing power value over time. So they must suppress the prices because really, I know I'm redundant, but a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. They don't want you to know that the currency is failing. So the stock markets have to go up, the bond markets have to go up, the real estate markets have to go up, all these markets have to go up. So you're looking over here and you're going, gold really hasn't done that much. I'm telling you what gold is it's an insurance policy. It protects not just your purchasing power, but it protects your freedom as well. So we could easily break out into a civil war here in the US. And we could easily see China and Russia and India, I'll put India in there as well, come together and overpower us. At the IMF, once we enabled China, changed some rules, et cetera, and enabled China to become part of the SDR basket, which is the currency, the world reserve currency that I personally think is going to take over. Well, quite honestly, if enough governments and countries got together, they could definitely overpower the voting ability of the US. The guys at the top, they have long-term strategies that they've been executing, and you need to have your strategy to make it through the reset, which is already in play. So we are evolving into a potential war. Of course, war can really break out any time. So a piece that we all need to be aware of, and they were on CNBC and on the Talking Heads today, talking about companies of every size, everywhere in the world, to make sure that you are prepared for cyber attacks. So the Ukraine shores up cyber defenses in readiness of a Russian attack. We've already, cyber attacks have been growing for years. They're not going to get smaller. This is truly where the real wars are going to be fought. But with Russia amassing more than 100,000 troops on the Ukraine border and Western powers accusing Moscow of planning a full-blown invasion, the Kiev government and independent experts expect hostile cyber activity to increase in an effort to destabilize the country before or during any attack. And you could say that a cyber attack would destabilize your company, right? So this is something to be thinking about on every single level. It is invisible, decentralized, portable wealth. So is silver. We need them both. Up to you. You can make the choice of what you want to go through this with.